Good morning, YouTubers. We are here for this week's YAWA, and we have a few announcements.
Announcements.
One, you've asked for merch, so we scoured the interwebs and found probably
The coolest mugs. We didn't want just any mugs.
Oh, so we got all hand-thrown, handmade, fancy mugs. You can check them out on our store, as well as we have another new hat design. So if you haven't checked out our hats, lids, caps section on our website, you should check that out. We have these, as well as we have 2 or 3 more designs that are on the way. I got confirmation that one is shipping that look pretty cool. And then we're still in the process of finding some sweet action
patches / embroidery / something for my ladies' hats and
that have the high ponytail spot.
Yeah,
for
to
when
be
you're
sassy.
Sassy.
But it's been kind of a work in progress, and I'm being picky because I can be picky.
Yeah, we want stuff to be right, not just half-assed. So we have
one other really cool story to share with you guys. We love getting feedback like this, and this is just one example of a situation where we are so happy that we were able to help one of our patrons.
But before we tell you that, we want to let you know that currently 66% of you that watch this video are not subscribing. So
please subscribe.
All right, now, we've talked a lot about Patreon and how we can help you with your specific situations. For example,
and it doesn't have to just be a training session.
What do you mean it doesn't have to be a training session?
It could be.
We are not counselors.
It could be a.
Don't be talking about your other problems now. I just want to talk about dogs.
Well, I didn't say not dogs, but I didn't say just a specific training situation. Like I can't get my dog to go on their dog bed or something. It could be as this example of a potty training problem.
Yeah, so training-related questions and issue-related questions, we're happy to answer.
Behavioral.
As long as they're dog-related, we are happy to answer them. Remember that. I'm not a counselor. All right, so we've got, to put this into perspective, so a lot of times we get questions from people, and they're fairly generic. Like, I have a 5.5-month-old dog. Thanks, Mike. And I am struggling with potty training. What are some tips that you can help me to get my dog? And it's like, well, there's a lot of things that could be going on here.
I need more information. That's usually the first thing that we ask is,
talk about your routine. What is your dog eating?
What have you tried?
What are you doing? When is it happening? All of these things. Well, we get this message on Patreon, and he goes over the fact that his dog is 5.5 months old. And he thought to begin with they were doing a pretty good job developing good habits and seemed to have drastically regressed over the last few weeks to the point where puppy will go outside, won't do anything, will come back in immediately, run to the other room. He said, we know where she's going because she just bolts, runs, and by the time we can get to her, she's already pooped or peed or done something to that effect. And pooping became one of the biggest problems that they were struggling with. So, he kind of talked about their schedule and their routine and what they're doing. And a lot of the things really don't sound that wrong, but gave us all of the specifics. And really what it came down to...
Which is what we need to make some really good recommendations.
Yeah, it's what we need to be able to help. We have to know what's going on first. So I said, thanks for reaching out, and set him up with a specific plan. Basically, if she's coming inside and having accidents, then that means she didn't do it outside. And
if she's doing it immediately when she comes inside, she does need to go.
Yep, 100%. So we just talked about the ways basically to be standing outside, work through that, pull away the distractions, because it sounded like as the puppy got older and more interested in exploring its environment, it was less interested in going to the bathroom. So
didn't want to maybe go back inside immediately after it had gone potty either and miss out on all the fun things to chew and explore.
Yeah, that can be part of it. It's pretty much anything that our dogs are doing, they're conditioning themselves. And that includes good things and bad things and the habits that you create. They anticipate everything. So if they want to play outside and they learn that The second they go potty, you pick them up and take them back inside. Then they may avoid going potty.
It's like potty training Aiden right now.
Yes, we created a really bad situation.
So
through
we
bad
make
timing.
mistakes too.
Yeah,
Just
100%.
Aiden's our first child, and we're like, oh, this will
We'll
be a
reward
great
you
way
with something
to
that
start
you
potty
enjoy.
training.
Yeah, we'll reward you with something that you enjoy doing, which is he likes to watch little
YouTube Coco Melon kid shows.
Yeah, on occasion.
And he really doesn't get to very often. So we say, okay, well, when we're trying to go to the bathroom on the potty, you can watch a show. Well, then he learned to just hold out and not potty and just watch a show and then watch another show and then watch another show, because this minute he finished going potty, we would tell him, oh, good job. And then the show would go away. And he's a smart little boy, so he figured this out pretty quick that, well, I just won't go potty and I get to watch all the shows. So now we don't get to watch shows while we go potty.
Yeah, and we've kind of also regressed in that department.
We have. Hey, if you've got some potty training tips, put them in the comments below for kids.
So anyhow, I helped him through this situation by saying, basically what we need to do in this situation is it's going to take a while in the beginning and it's going to get progressively better, but you need to basically pull away the distractions, stand there with your puppy on leash away from the things and wait. And if she doesn't go to the bathroom, bring her back in, put her in her crate immediately, give her a couple minutes, take her back outside. And show her that as soon as we go outside, you can go to the bathroom and then you can play for a little bit, or you can come back inside and play for a little bit and anything else. And I just got a message yesterday that said, thank you so much. We are 500% better in just a week's time. And
no accidents or anything all over the weekend, which was awesome to hear. So huge progress.
So it's really fun to see and to express to you guys that joining on Patreon is going to allow us to help you with your specific situations. Here, we're happy to answer questions, but those questions have to be fairly generic, or we need all of the information, which typically takes a lot more time. So
yeah, we have to create a dialogue and pull some of that information out of people, maybe see a few sessions if it's an actual training situation, before we can get to the root of maybe the issue or the problem to give you the best specific information for you.
So for those of you that don't know, that's patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels. Now, the last exciting thing in regards to that specifically is we are currently in the process of typing up and adding a new tier that's going to allow you to do video consults. So Zoom meetings, or
we always talk about FaceTime because we have iPhones, but not everyone does. So it would be something like that on a platform that everyone can utilize.
Yeah, there's lots of options. We'll figure out which one is the most uniform, but the ability to sit down and us to give you live feedback. So we just sit and have a conversation about what you're working on and then watch your sessions and respond. So
should be pretty awesome
that.
Because it allows us to have that at the moment interaction. We can stop a session if you're working on something and say, hey, wait, don't do that anymore. Let's try this instead. Instead of you sending a video, we watch the video. The next day we get back to you, because that's typically how that goes. And then you read our response. Then you shoot another video. So it takes a couple days potentially to get to the root of something. We're hoping that this will allow people to get feedback on a more instantaneous basis.
It's instant, baby.
Yeah. So let's get into some questions.
Perfect.
Unless you have anything else to add. Any more announcements?
I really don't.
Okay. Well, if we come up with something else, we'll put it in part 2. So, first question from Amelia Lang. I might mess that up. It's from Instagram. How long in advance do people generally have to request a puppy? We've been getting tons of puppy questions recently, so I thought this would be a good one to just sprinkle in here.
Quickly.
Yes. Oh, he's looking at me to answer this. So...
No, we can sprinkle it quickly. Basically, right now, it is anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years approximately. Now, that approximation is variable because things happen. For example, we have an entire litter of males or an entire litter of females. We typically take an even split of deposits on a specific litter, and then we call down our list. So you could be anywhere from 1.5 years to 2 years. That's what we can kind of promise.
That's where we can say, hey, we're for sure we're going to be able to get you a puppy by 2022 this year, this situation. But there is a chance, like Ethan said, that you're going to get a call from me earlier than that saying, hey, we do have one puppy available out of this litter because we had a whole litter of males, or I only took 6 deposits and we had 10 puppies and things got mixed around. Now, if we do have a whole litter of males or something like that, I always offer the people that are on that litter that have female deposits the opportunity to take a male if they're interested, because for us, we've talked about this. There's not a huge difference between males and females as far as personality, trainability, natural ability goes. You're going to see the differences in size, and then, reproductive systems with heat cycles, and then males having some testosterone-driven marking outdoors. But for the most part, the hunting ability, the personality is going to be even across the board. So we always say, hey, are you interested first?
So if you are open and a little flexible to timing-wise, that could happen as early as in a year or less. And then if you have specific timing and need to be able to plan 100% around that, we are sitting at the approximately 1.5 to 2 year mark.
And we try and put less emphasis on coloration. People get really hung up on color, and more emphasis put on the right litter for you with the right temperament and personality for you, because our litters do vary slightly depending on who's being bred. But if you have really specific wants of, I want a black and white male or I want a black and white female, that's usually going to push you further out, because those type of things are not guarantees. I mean, we can't program in beep, 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 beep. Mom, I want you to have 4 black and white females and 4 liver and white females. Please and thank you. It doesn't happen that way. You can't count your chickens or your puppies before they hatch. So we have to, kind of go with generic deposits and things like that to get started.
100%.
So that was a good question. And then this one's also a good question because it relates to our story on Patreon a little bit. From Michael Whitney 25 on Instagram, crate training. Been at it a week now. Our pup screams for at least a half an hour and then pees and poops. I'm assuming that's in the crate because you haven't let them out of the crate while they're screaming and crying. So a couple things that I wanted to just mention. Crate training. That's awesome that you're doing it. A week is not really that long to just throw in the towel and be like, I give up. My puppy can't do this. There's really never a point where I would say give up, because the reward of crate training is so beneficial once you get there. And you're going to struggle. There's going to be times where, your puppy needs a little more time, or, you didn't monitor how much water they drank and then they're going to have an accident. But overall, if you can master crate training, you're going to be much happier in life. And it sounds like your puppy just needs to pee and poop. If they're going in their crate, immediately crying, and then peeing and pooping within a half an hour, they're trying to tell you, hey, I need to go potty. So you're seeing a habit, you're seeing this conditioning process happening. So you need to say, okay, I need to spend whatever amount of time it takes to get you to pee and poop outside before we go back in and go in our crate. Because what's happening is they're going, oh, now that I'm in my crate and I don't have anything else to really think about or do, I'm going, oh yeah, kind of need to go to the bathroom. Well, I better tell my parents that I need to go. And then they're trying to tell you, and they get themselves more and more worked up. And then it's like, okay, I can't hold it any longer. It's just happening. Whereas if you can spend that time outside getting them to go to the bathroom, kind of like Mike was struggling with, she was getting distracted. So if you can spend that time outside, maybe on a long lead so that they can't get into the bushes or the mulch or whatever that they're distracting themselves with to stay focused on the task of getting their business done, then they can come in and go to the bathroom. Or no.
Yep, they can.
Have more coffee. Then they can come in and go in their crate. So sorry. This is just coffee, I swear.
Maybe you need a little more. The biggest things are going to be that when we started, and we start with any puppy, they're a little bit different, all of them. But when we started with Thunder, there were a couple times where it was like, we know you need to poop, buddy. And we stood outside for, 30 minutes.
Yes.
And then had to pull, we didn't have to resort to this because we don't have as many distractions and things like that. But we do have the backyard he gets let out in the side yard, typically kind of our setup, but then he has the backyard. Well, there was a dog let out into the backyard and he wanted to go see them. And that was a distraction. So he had to pull his focus back up, and then we walk further away from those distractions and stand there and just wait. And, and there were a few times that it took 30 minutes, and then it's like, good boy, that's what you're supposed to be doing, and showing him and having the timing and paying attention and knowing when it happened to be able to reinforce the fact that he went to the bathroom outside. And then it gets exponentially better. It's to the point now where you let him outside and he instantly runs out and pees, and you go, do you need to do anything else? And if he doesn't come right back to you, like, okay, you're going to poop. If he comes right back up to the stairs, you go, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything else, because he's getting to that point where he's consistent enough. So,
yes. So over 3 weeks now, or coming on 4 weeks, he'll be 12 weeks old this Friday. So over the course of 3-4 weeks, we've created and conditioned really good habits with him, which is ultimately where you can get to. You're only a week in, so that's kind of where we were at that struggle point still too with him and the crate training and the potty training and consistency. Some days he'd be good. Some days he would have a potty accident in his crate. No pooping, but peeing in his crate. And
usually that was coincided with the fact that he had tanked on water. And it's like, well, we know you're going to need to pee a couple times, but then we have to go run errands, and it's going to be 3 or 4 hours.
Or we just estimated wrong and said, okay, he's probably going to need to go out in another 30 minutes because he's just in his crate, chilling, and it needed to be sooner. So things like that happen. So do we have time for another question or not?
Yeah.
This part. Oh, good. Good. One last question for part 1 from Amber_Dell on Instagram. Hi, I know y'all said in a recent YAWA that you don't let your dogs rough play in the house. I guess my question is, how? That's all my puppy and older dog want to do, and I feel bad just crating the puppy every time. Are there any techniques y'all use besides crating the puppy and using chew bones? Thanks. Well, thank you, Amber, for watching our YAWAs. And
Absolutely.
We are, like I said, that's why sometimes...
Hopefully you're not part of the 66%.
But don't subscribe. So, however, this is a really great opportunity to expand on one of our previous answers. So I thought that was a really good thing to talk about.
So when and how and the things... It kind of depends on how old your puppy is. It doesn't really say, but it says puppy. I would assume youngish. And a big part of that is place training. We utilize that a lot. And
even though Thunder's not really truly place trained yet, I mean, he understands the Q kennel, but there's no real duration.
For the most part.
Kind of understands the Q
he's
kennel.
Getting there.
But there's no real duration yet. It's not like he goes on his dog bed and can stay there for an hour. He has better duration if we give him a little bone or something to chew on his bed. But that place training really...
But the old dog should definitely be able to learn and understand, stay here. And that kind of keeps that calmer demeanor. Because even if Thunder goes and gets up onto the dog bed with one of the older dogs and lays there and does the things, they may kind of like baby roll around on the dog bed.
But they can't leave the dog bed, so that kind of keeps that level of excitement and play to a minimum and contained to that specific spot.
It's interesting, too, because I watched Muddy was hanging out.
Which
and she
is
was
Thunder's mama.
Yes, so Thunder is hanging out with his mom, and they were doing really, really, really cool dog interaction. And I'm like, on my phone, I'm going, come on, get to the video thing. Let's, technology.
That's what I do all the time. I'm like, tap, 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 tap.
And I couldn't get it to pull up my video taker.
Camera?
There you go. That's the one. And what I was trying to do, have some more coffee. I was trying to actually set up so that I could go live on Instagram, and that's what was taking a while. So that we could pull up and show a live interaction and I could explain what was going on. So they were doing a little bit of that face fighting kind of playing.
Pretty gently, though.
No, 100% gentle. But it was one of those things that it was like, I wanted to just show you, like, this is dog interaction. We have a 10-week-old puppy and we have its mom who is no longer nursing, and he's not messing with that. He's just hanging out with his mom, which is an adult dog that he's interacting with. And it's just mouths open. It's like face fighting is what we refer to it as. But he would like bite her on the leg, and then bite her on the chest, and then bite her on the neck, and then bite, and then bite, and 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 bite, everything. And she was like with her mouth, and she was kind of dodging stuff, and then she would bite him, and then he would bite her. And that's how they were interacting. And it's like, this is why puppies bite us.
Now it makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, and we've seen this before, but it would have been the perfect thing to be able to show people.
And he was doing that with Nix the other day and Quest the other day. And I threw a little clip of it up on the story, just a little story clip, not an actual live video. So
but it will happen
again.
Yeah. And maybe, I mean, he's on that edge where it kind of teeters off, but we have more puppies coming, so I'm sure we'll see it. And if I can get it,
we always have more puppies coming.
Yes. But if I can get it, we will try and show that so you guys can see. But it's just to explain. Now, obviously, the dog's skin's a little tougher than ours, as well as they have a better way of communicating. You know, they're going to make the right noises at the right time, that it makes the sense to the puppy to say, "Hey, that was too much. Stop biting me so hard." But it was the perfect example of showing why that's a natural thing for dogs to do. Now, all of that being said, back to the question specifically, the dog bed and place training really helps to calm down and maintain a totally different demeanor to that type of play.
Yeah, it manages the amount of excitement that can happen.
Absolutely.
So, great question, Amber. Thank you guys all for watching part 1 and listening to all of our announcements and subscribing to our channel. And
we're going to take a short break.
These are also available on our website if you are interested in one. And
100%.
Those.
Yeah. And
no, those aren't yet.
They will be.
They will be. Thanks for watching.
We'll be back in just a minute.